Hello everyone, and welcome to Reading with Mrs. Adams. I'm Mrs. Adams, and once again we're back on the farm, and I have 3 stories, 2 poems, and a song featuring chickens. We're going to start with that song. It's called Los Pollitos. It's a traditional song from Mexico, and pollitos are little chicks. So the song goes like this. Los pollitos dicen pío, 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 cuando tienen hambre, cuando tienen frío. La gallina busca el maíz, el trigo, les da la comida y les presta abrigo. Baja sus 2 alas, acurrucaditos, hasta el otro día duermen los pollitos. Well, I hope you enjoyed that song. Our first story today, boys and girls, is called Daisy Comes Home. This is written and exquisitely illustrated by Jan Brett. And the setting is China, and there's 2 main characters. The first is Mei Mei, a little girl who's raising 6 happy hens. At least she thinks they're happy. But one of them isn't very happy. Her name is Daisy. She's the smallest one, and she's picked on by the other hens. And this follows her adventure when she decides she's had enough of being picked on. So we'll find out what happens to Daisy in the story and how she comes home. But one thing I want you to take a look at is in the story, Jan Brett's illustrations. As usual, Jan Brett has, she's reserved a portion of the page. It's blocked off diagonally by some bamboo. And on the left-hand side, you're going to notice that it's depicting things that are happening in the background or the same time as the main illustration. Or sometimes it's an additional picture detail about the main activity. And then the portion that's blocked off here on the right-hand side, the bottom corner, you're going to notice in that picture something that's coming up in the story next. So one other thing that I think Jan Brett does a magnificent job with is her illustrations, and as usual they are just exquisite in this book. But she's incorporated or found a way to draw different types of animals. She's made them actually a part of the background landscape, either in the mountains or in the different vegetation that you see. So, for example, on this page, there's a rabbit right there in that mountain. So look carefully in the background and you'll be able to notice some interesting animals that you'll see in the vegetation or in the mountains, as I said. So I can't wait to read. This is one of my favorite Jan Brett stories because I just love the way Daisy rises up and shows how brave she really is. And bravery isn't being without fear, but bravery is doing whatever you need to do in spite of your fear. So she's a brave little hen, and I can't wait for you to hear the story of Daisy Comes Home, written and illustrated by Jan Brett. Daisy Comes Home, written and illustrated by Jan Brett. Daisy Comes Home by Jan Brett. G.P. Putnam Sons, New York. To Patrick Zhang Tong Hearn. Look over the garden wall and you will see the 6 happiest hens in China. They live in Mei Mei's sandy yard by the Li River, where they lay brown eggs every day for Mei Mei to sell at the market. But it was not always this way. Once upon a time, the smallest hen, the one Mei Mei calls Daisy, was picked on by all the others. This is hard to imagine because Mei Mei was known far and wide for her happy hens. She gave them treats. She put fresh hay in their nests. She gave them baths when they fell in the black mud. And when she called, "Goo-goo, goo-goo," all the hens would run to her as fast as their legs could carry them. Even Mei Mei's egg baskets were painted with big red characters that read, "Happy Hens." And she tried to make it so. But every night when it was time to roost in the hen house, the other hens picked on Daisy. They fluffed up their feathers and crowded her off the perch. They jostled her until peck, one or the other pushed her, and thump, off she fell. Then the hens tucked their heads into their feathers and went to sleep, while poor little Daisy was stuck below on the damp mud floor, shivering and cold, until morning. One day it rained all day and the hens stayed inside. When it got dark, they flew up to their perch, except for Daisy. She had had enough of pushy hens and cold, damp floors. She went outside to find a place to spend the night. Down on the riverbank, she spied one of the market baskets. She snuggled in and fluffed up her feathers to stay warm. Daisy was sleeping and didn't see the river creeping up the bank from all the rain. And when the water reached her happy hen's basket, she didn't feel it float out onto the river. But when the basket started tipping and bobbing, Daisy woke up. She peeked out and saw a watery world all around her. The sandy yard, the garden wall, and Maymay's farmhouse looked smaller and smaller as the current carried her down the river. Finally, the basket bumped against a stone jetty where a houseboat was tied up. Scratch, scratch, scraped the basket as the river waves pushed it against the sharp rocks. A dog was sitting up on the deck of the houseboat when he saw the plump hen bobbing in the basket. He barked and scrambled toward her. Daisy squawked and pecked and beat the air with her wings. It was enough to tip the basket off the rocks, and she floated away just in time. Dawn broke over the Gee Mountains as the basket drifted along the river. Branches brushed against it, fish swam silently by, and birds flew overhead. Suddenly, Daisy felt a thump. Daisy looked up and saw two big horns and a pair of surprised eyes looking down at her. The basket had drifted into the legs of a great big water buffalo, taking a morning drink. The buffalo snorted loudly, scaring Daisy. She flew forward and nipped his furry muzzle and flapped her wings. Daisy scared the water buffalo. He turned and galloped up the bank, scattering the ducks as he ran. His splashes made waves that carried the basket back into the middle of the river. Daisy traveled along all day until her basket was hooked by the roots of a banyan tree where a troop of red-tailed monkeys lived. The curious monkeys eyed Daisy and climbed down for a closer look. Daisy froze as one monkey crept up to the basket and reached in. Daisy flapped and pecked, nipped and squawked. The startled monkey pushed the basket away. It broke loose from the tree and floated on down the river. Daisy wondered what would happen next. Up ahead, Daisy saw a fisherman with cormorants diving all around his bamboo boat. They were catching fish and taking them to him for a reward. The fisherman felt a soft bump behind him. Thinking it was a cormorant, he reached back and grabbed. How surprised he was to see that he was holding a hen instead of a cormorant. "Finders keepers," he exclaimed. "Little fish, big fish, silver fish, white fish. That's what I sell at the market. But today I will have this tender young chicken." He put a net over the basket and headed to shore with poor Daisy inside. At home, Maymay had looked all day and all night for her little Daisy. She wasn't in the hen house. She wasn't behind the farmhouse. She couldn't fly over the wall. Where is she? Maymay wondered, worried all the time about what had happened to Daisy. Finally, she knew that she had to go to the market. With a sad feeling, she packed her eggs in their baskets and started on her way. As the basket swung back and forth, the red characters on the sides of her baskets made Maymay feel sadder and sadder. "Happy hens," she said aloud to herself. "What about my Daisy? Where can she be?" At the market, Maymay found a place and arranged the eggs in clean, sweet-smelling straw. All morning, shoppers bought her fresh brown eggs, but she couldn't stop thinking about her little lost hen. Maymay heard a voice calling her. It was her friend Zhang yelling from the back of a bike cart. "A fisherman has a happy hen's basket," he shouted. "What?" called Maymay, not understanding what he was saying. "A happy hen's basket," he repeated. "You'd better hurry because he's showing off what's inside." "Daisy!" Maymay shouted. Maymay raced to where the fish were sold. There was Daisy, beautiful and plump, in her basket, surrounded by a crowd, all wanting to buy her. "That's my hen!" she cried to the fisherman, but his face was like stone. She pointed to the red characters on the basket. "Happy hens," she said. The fisherman crossed his arms. "Finders keepers," he growled, and turned away to sell Daisy. Maymay was about to leave, but her eyes rested on those characters. Happy hens. All she could think about was Daisy in a cooking pot. She squeezed her eyes shut and clenched her fists. She had to do something. "Goo, goo, 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 goo," she called at the top of her voice, and when Daisy heard that call, she answered in the way she had every day of her life. She rose up and threw herself against the basket, tipping it over. She ran toward her friend Maymay as fast as her legs could go. Daisy flew onto Maymay's shoulder, and off they went, running back to get Maymay's baskets and go home. The fisherman ran after them, furious. "Stop!" he yelled at Maymay. "That's my hen!" "Finders keepers," Maymay called over her shoulder, and with Daisy clinging to her, she ran and didn't stop until they were safely home. That night, as the sun went down, Daisy took a place on the roost. When one of the big hens fluffed up her wings and spread out, expecting Daisy to fall off the perch like always, Daisy flapped her wings. "I learned that from a boat dog," she clucked. Another hen tried to tip her off. She pushed right back. "I scared a water buffalo like that," she squawked. Another hen jostled her. Peck, 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 peck. Daisy kept her place on the perch and beat the air with her wings. She remembered the monkey, and she pecked and flapped all over again. That was when the hens gave Daisy a place of her own. The lap, lap, lap of the river made a peaceful nighttime song. No bumping, no jostling, no fussing around. Just 6 happy hens, their heads tucked in their feathers, high and warm and safe together. And that is the end of Daisy Comes Home, written and illustrated by Jan Brett. The first poem I'm reading today, boys and girls, is called The Rooster. The Rooster. Cock-a-doodle-doo! The rooster flaps his wings. Cock-a-doodle-doo! He flaps his wings and sings. Cock-a-doodle-doo! The rooster sings and then cock-a-doodle-doo! Cock-a-doodle-doo! He flaps his wings again. The second book I'm reading today, boys and girls, is called Where Do Chicks Come From? This is a Let's Read and Find Out science book. That means it's informational text, all factual information that will show you exactly where chicks come from. It's written by Amy E. Skolansky and illustrated by Pam Paparoni. I really think you're going to enjoy Where Do Chicks Come From? Where Do Chicks Come From? by Amy E. Sklansky, illustrated by Pam Paparone. Let's read and find out science. Where do chicks come from? By Amy E. Sklansky, illustrated by Pam Paparone, HarperCollins Publishers. For Nicole, Cindy, and Steve, with thanks, AES. For Richard, PP. Where do chicks come from? This is an egg. You've seen eggs before, but this one is different. In 3 weeks, a chick will hatch from this egg. An egg begins as a tiny white spot inside the mother chicken, the hen. There may be many tiny eggs inside the hen at one time. A yellow yolk grows around each egg. Then the father chicken, the rooster, mates with the hen. His sperm joins with the growing egg. This is called fertilization. Soon a clear jelly-like egg white, or albumin, grows around the yolk. Finally, a hard shell forms. The egg is ready to be laid. So this is a picture of the inside of the hen. The unfertilized eggs are here, the beginnings of them. The yolk begins to grow, and the albumin, which is the white, it forms around the fertilized egg. And then the shell forms just before the egg is ready to be laid. The hen lays the egg. Over the next few days, she lays several more eggs. The hen sits on top of the eggs to keep them warm. As soon as the eggs are warm, the chicks start growing. Inside the warm egg is everything a chick needs to grow. A thin white skin grows around the yolk and albumin and sticks to the inside of the shell. It holds the albumin together to cushion the growing chick. The yellow yolk contains liquid food. The albumin contains water and a little more food. At one end of the egg is an air space. This is where the chick will take its first breath. The egg you eat for breakfast could never grow into a chick because it was never fertilized. Otherwise, all parts inside the egg are the same. The hen has warmed her eggs for 3 days now. Inside, the chicks are growing. Day 3. The chick looks like the letter C, with a dark spot in the middle. Right there. This spot is its heart. The heart pumps blood. The blood carries water and food from the yolk and albumin to the growing chick. The chick's waste collects in a small sac. Day 5. The chick's head is now half as big as its body, and its eyes are very large. Its tail has begun to grow. Wings and legs are forming. Briefly, the hen leaves the eggs to find food and water. She quickly returns to warm them again. Day 7. The chick is only 1 inch long, about as long as your big toe. Even so, it is already starting to look like a chicken. The chick's eyes, stomach, brain, and toes have started to grow. A beak has started to grow too, but it's very soft. The chick's wings are folded across its chest. Day 10. Every day the chick uses up more of the food from the yolk. The chick lies on its back inside the egg. Its wings, legs, and beak are fully grown. See its little legs, there's a beak, and the wings that are folded over. Sometimes the hen turns the eggs over. She keeps them warm on all sides. Day 11. The chick can open and close its beak now. It wiggles and bends within the albumen. Tiny bumps appear all over the chick's skin. In a few days, feathers will grow from these bumps. Day 14. The chick is tightly curled inside the egg. It turns to lie on its side. As the chick uses up more and more of the yolk and albumin, the waste bag expands. The chick has grown a special bump on the end of its beak. This is called the egg tooth. It's right there. The hen clucks softly and turns her eggs again. The chicks are learning to recognize the sound of their mother's voice. The hen no longer leaves her eggs. She will not eat or drink again until after they have hatched. Day 18. The chick has grown so big it touches the inside of the shell on every side. Soft feathers called down cover its head and body. The chick uses up the last of the yolk. The yolk will give the chick energy to hatch and then rest for a few days without eating. So not very much yolk is left. Day 20. The chick practices breathing. In one day, it will hatch. Inside the eggshell, the chick pecks a hole into the airspace at the end of the egg. It takes its first breath and goes cheep cheep. Cluck cluck, answers the hen. The next day, the chick pecks a tiny hole in the shell using its egg tooth. It is tough work for the chick. After making the hole, the chick sleeps for a few hours. When the chick wakes up, it pecks for hours. It pecks a circle around the inside of the shell. Next, it pushes hard against one side of the shell with its feet. Then it pushes hard against the other side with its neck and shoulders. Crack! The chick has hatched. The shell and the dried up waste sac fall away. The chick doesn't need its egg tooth anymore. In a few days, it will fall off. So that's its egg tooth, and it doesn't need it. So in a couple of days, it'll fall off. The chick is tired. There it is. It rests its wobbly legs as the other chicks finish hatching. Hatching out of an egg is hard work. The hen fluffs her feathers and spreads her wings to cover and warm her new chicks. The babies nestle close to their mother and sleep. As they rest, their down dries. Their legs and necks grow stronger. They look so cute under there. Hours later, the fluffy chick is the first to run out from beneath its mother's wings. The others soon follow. Together, the hen and her new chicks search for food in the barnyard. And that is the end of Where Do Chicks Come From? By Amy E. Sklansky, illustrated by Pam Paparone. The second and final poem I'm reading today, boys and girls, is called Speckled Hen. I really had fun writing this poem, and I hope you enjoy it. Speckled Hen by Robin Adams. Speckled hen sticks out her neck, scratch, 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 and peck, peck, peck. In the barnyard she proudly struts, gathering her chicks with a cluck, cluck, cluck. The third and final story I have for you today, boys and girls, is called Hattie and the Fox, written by Mem Fox and illustrated by Patricia Mullins. I think you're going to enjoy Hattie and the Fox. Hattie and the Fox by Mem Fox, illustrated by Patricia Mullins. Hattie and the Fox by Mem Fox, illustrated by Patricia Mullins, Bradbury Press, New York. Hattie was a big black hen. One morning she looked up and said, "Goodness gracious me, I can see a nose in the bushes." "A good grief," said the goose. Wow, wow, said the pig. Who cares, said the sheep. So what, said the horse. What next, said the cow. And Hattie said, goodness gracious me, I can see a nose and two eyes in the bushes. Good grief, said the goose. Wow, wow, said the pig. Who cares, said the sheep. So what, said the horse. What next, said the cow. And Hattie said, goodness gracious me, I can see a nose, two eyes, two ears in the bushes. Good grief, said the goose. Wow, wow, said the pig. Who cares, said the sheep. So what, said the horse. What next, said the cow. And Hattie said, goodness gracious me, I can see a nose, two eyes, two ears, and two legs in the bushes. A good grief, said the goose. Well, well, said the pig. Who cares, said the sheep. So what, said the horse. What next, said the cow. And Hattie said, goodness gracious me, I can see a nose, two eyes, two ears, two legs, and a body in the bushes. Good grief, said the goose. Well, well, said the pig. Who cares, said the sheep. So what, said the horse. What next, said the cow. And Hattie said, goodness gracious me, I can see a nose, two eyes, two ears, and a body, four legs, and a tail in the bushes. It's a fox, it's a fox. And she flew very quickly into a nearby tree. Oh, no, said the goose. Dear me, said the pig. Oh, dear, said the sheep. Oh, help, said the horse. But the cow said, moo, so loudly that the fox was frightened and ran away. And they all were so surprised, and none of them said anything for a very long time. And that is the end of Hattie and the Fox by Mem Fox, illustrated by Patricia Mullins. Thank you so much for joining me today, boys and girls, and I hope you enjoyed all the stories, poems, and the song featuring chickens. If you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, you can do so. Just tap the word subscribe right there, and that way you'll be sure to get all the latest videos with stories and poems from Reading with Mrs. Adams. One truth I want you always to remember, and that is that God loves you so much. So dare to dream the impossible, because all things are possible with God. I love you. Until next time, goodbye.